I can't believe I have to make this video, but you do not understand the age of consent. Or at least if you do, you're not really applying it correctly. So this is what I'm understanding upon the online diaspora. This is messing me up. So, age of consent in most places, right? 16. Some places are 13, some are 14, 15. That's cool, right? That's important. So, let's get that as a baseline of age of consent. First, let's talk about definitions. What does age of consent mean? Age of consent is when you can legally, under the guise of the law, engage in provocative activities. You can involve in acts where your bodies are naked when you're 16. That's very important. That's age of consent. That is when you can consensually agree to intimacy in the aspect of penetration in bodies and genitals and things of that variety. That is the age. That's what it means. 16. Age of consent. That's the law, right? At least in Michigan, that's the law. Now, some places, China, 13. 13. You can do that. 13. Now, this is very important. You are not legally an adult till you're 18. Now, I want to point these two things both exist. This is very important. You are not legally an adult until you are 18 years of age. Let's jot that down. Right, got your notepad, write it down. So, if you are 16, you can consent to another actions with somebody who is 16 or 17. And in some Romeo and Juliet cases, when there's a 2-year difference, 16, 18. In some instances, if you're already dating, you can do that. That's where it gets a little skewed with the law in that capacity. If you were 18, talking to a 16-year-old, that's okay. Right, hear me out. That's okay. If you were previously dating or knew of intentions to date, that's good. However, this is where things get really bad. Also, in some states, the legal age of an adult is 19 or 21. I believe some places such as Nebraska or Illinois or Alaska, things of those places where it's a higher age of legal adulthood. Legally an adult. In no instance can an adult lay with a minor. At 16, you are a minor. Now, this is where everybody gets really confused, so I'm going to be really slow with this so I can really understand what I'm saying, because this actually is agitating me. At 18, you're an adult, right? Legally, under the guise of the law, you can register for the Army. You can't buy alcohol. You can't buy cigarettes, but you can join up for the Army. Being 18 means you can get emancipated from your house. Parents kick you out, but you can't do the fun stuff and go to the club. You gotta wait till 21 to do that. So that 3-year gap is stupid. So, now then, it's very important. If you are 24, you cannot date a 16-year-old. If you're 24, you can't be with a 16-year-old. Because despite the age of consent being 16, and they can consent to it, it is still illegal for an adult to be with a minor. I don't know how many times, how many different ways, how many different flips on my head I have to do for you to grasp this and picture it. I do not understand why this is such a big point of controversy. I don't get why people don't grasp this. The age of consent means that if you're 15 and you're sleeping with a 15-year-old, you're both 15, that's illegal. If you're 14, that's illegal. If the age of consent is 16 and you're both 12 doing nasty stuff, that's illegal. That is illegal. You can't do that. That's literally illegal. If you're both 10 years old, 10 and 10, the age of consent is 16. You can't legally consent to it. Both of you. Neither of you are in trouble, but it is illegal to do so. You can't do it. Nobody wants to see children doing that anyway. Unless you're disgusting and depraved and weird and deserve to be in prison and rot. Genuinely speaking. 16-year-olds. 2 of them. Boom and bang. Yoon and yang. Boom. The Street Fighter reference, by the way. Two of them. 16. They can be with each other. They can lay with the sheets with each other. They can drive together. They can ride together. By all means, they can do what they want to. Great. That's perfect. 18. Perfect. Now, when you are 18, you can do whatever the hell you want to. I don't care. If you decide you're 18, I'm going to date a 90-year-old. I don't care. I really don't. Get that bag. A 40-year-old dad wants to date you and you're 19 and you're a girl. Exploit that man for money and you're the age of his daughter. Okay, cool. What about it? He giving me money. I'm exploiting this man. He groomed you. Probably, but that's an adult. They can do whatever they want to. Their brain's not fully developed. Should we wait till 25? That's where the part where it gets muggled. That's where it gets weird. I don't care. If a 40-year-old is dating a 19-year-old, should you slaughter the 40-year-old? Of course you should. But, however, the important aspect is the 19-year-old is probably getting money, getting paid out of it. If a 19-year-old guy is with a 40-year-old woman, that woman is also a predator. But, hey, she probably giving him money, probably teaching him things in the bedroom he never knew. They're both adults. There is no adult child. That doesn't exist. A lot of people want to infantilize adults and do that. 18, freshly 18, a little bit insane, crazy. You're waiting at the strike at 12 so you won't go to jail. Tells me that the only thing stopping most people in society, a lot of men specifically, the thing that's stopping them is the law. If the law was 14, men would be like, hey, I didn't date her when she was 13. I waited to the strike at midnight when she was 14 to do so. That's what it tells me. A lot of men would use that if the law was 14. That's what would happen. Some men think that she's on her period. She had a period. She's legal. That's some men. They're gross too. That's disgusting. That's nasty. I mean that with my whole chest. That's disgusting. I am telling you with my whole body that if you do not understand the age of consent and the fact that an adult cannot sleep with a minor and a 16-year-old is a minor, let's say it like this. See, the age of consent in China is 13, right? 14, 13. That doesn't mean a 30-year-old can be with a 14-year-old. That doesn't mean that. That's not what it means. In Thailand, look at the age of consent. 13, 14, around that range. That does not mean that a 40-year-old man can be with a 14-year-old because they're not legally an adult. That's not what that means. What it means is that if two 14-year-olds want to do something, that's legal. Two 15-year-olds, two 13-year-olds, that's legal. They can do that. That's all that means. That's what age of consent laws mean. That's what it means. That's the age where you mentally can consent to actions in the bedroom. That's what it means. I don't get how people are so confused by this. I don't get, because in no circumstance, if you are a 50-year-old man and you see a 16-year-old or a 50-year-old woman or a 60-year-old woman and you see a 16-year-old and you say, but the age of consent is 16. Don't know why everybody's having a big deal about it. That's still a minor. An adult can't sleep with a minor. And I heard a lot of people say, well, they can date. No, what? What's wrong with you? What's wrong? That's gross. What's wrong with you? And the only part where people get mad at me, the only part where people get really mad at me at, is where I talk about the 18 stuff. Because I am a bag chaser. I'm a deep bag chaser. I see an 18-year-old girl with a 70-year-old man. Hey, put some poison in his coffee. I don't know what to, hey, he's going to have a heart attack in 3 minutes. You good. Hey, he drinks too much. Give him some more alcohol. Have him buy you a car. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, that man's a creep, 100%. Leonardo DiCaprio, he keeps aging down. Every time a girl turns 25, he's like, up, going with a 19-year-old. Up, going with a 19-year-old. I bet those women are getting hundreds and thousands of dollars from that man. Is he creepy? Yep. But the women are getting money. Same way I feel about OnlyFans. I don't care that a girl does OnlyFans. I never will. That's not how I operate as a human being. I care about the thousands of men that are paying all that money to have conversation with a girl. One time, I was running an OF account from one of my friends, right? I was running an OF account for one of my friends, and she charged per message $20. She made $26,000 every month after taxes. $26,000 after taxes, talking to men, talking to them, not showing anybody, just having a conversation. Per message, if she replied, okay, $20. And they did it because she was that pretty. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I have no age. That's what I'm talking about. That's important. So when you see that 18-year-old, that category on the hub, 18, teen girl, teen coochie, when you see that 18-year-old girl with that older man, chase that bag. You see a young 20-year-old man or a young 18-year-old man with that 50-year-old woman, chase that bag. That's how I feel personally. That's me. I'm a bag chaser. That's what I am. But the original goal of this video was talking about age of consent. That's really important. If you don't understand it, or if you have some different interpretation of age of consent, and you want to tell me what you think, which is incorrect, you're more than welcome to talk about it in the comments. But I want to reiterate the final point. This is very important. You are an adult. You cannot sleep with a minor. That's so important. You are an adult. A legal adult. 18. Can't be with a 14-year-old. Can't do it. If you're 30, you're trying to date that 16-year-old, that's against the law. You're an adult, that's a minor. The age of consent means that a 16-year-old and a 16-year-old can be with each other, or a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old, or a 17-year-old and a 17-year-old, or if this Romeo and Juliet laws where they're both together already and one person turns 18, or the 19-year-old, like say somebody's 17 and they're dating a 15-year-old, and then they age up and the person turns 18, then they're still 15, and then the person turns 16, then the 18-year-old turns 19, and then the 16-year-old still 16. That's legal. But if you're an adult, you can't be with the minor. I don't know why I gotta keep saying this. I don't know why. You don't understand age of consent. If you do, great. If you don't, this video is for you.